I tried showing Edison Spoon Man the other day.
Spoon
I was like,
Man.
this song just kind of sucks.
When I had a hamster, I used to call it Spoon Ham.
Well, I think if you knew what Spoon Man meant, you probably...
Well, yeah, I knew it was Spoon Man. I mean, the dude is in the video, so I get that. But
Yeah.
it's like, great. I'm glad you turned all your spoons into musical instruments. Don't necessarily need a song about it.
I don't think that's what that song's about.
It literally is.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I always thought it was about heroin, but
Me too.
The guy's in the video. Spoon Man is in the video.
Oh,
I know that.
It can be about two things.
it's a double entendre.
You know, like cockpit.
It's another name for an asshole. Cockpit.
All right. Welcome to today's episode of Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve. I'm Steve.
I'm Dave.
And today we have two guests. We have the reunion of the finale lineup here. So we have Sean, and are you using a pseudonym today that I'm going to fuck up?
Is it Uranus?
Says it's the reunion. What was it? Mr. fucking Cordial or some shit like that?
Mr. fucking Puritanical.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I am Mr. fucking Puritanical.
So
Where's
he just referred to you
Uranus?
as fucking throughout the whole
Mr.
whole
fucking
episode.
Yes,
Where's
that is Mr.
Uranus?
fucking you.
Well,
It's
welcome
Uranus.
back to Side 1, Side B. Today, we're going to be listening to Def Leppard again. No.
Sorry, I gotta take my shot of heroin. Because I'm a
Heroin
bad
shot?
motor finger.
Yeah.
No, today, we're taking a look at one of my favorite albums. But before we get to that, what do you guys know about grunge?
Oh, I know nothing, Steve. I know nothing about grunge.
I'm wearing Doc Martens. I frequently wear a flannel shirt, which I tie around my waist when it gets too hot, so a good amount.
Who's
I was
Kurt
born in
Cobain?
77. What do you think?
Who's Kurt Cobain?
I like rainy weather.
Kurt
And
Cobain's
being
the
sad.
Kurt Cobain's the guy that wrote Man Who Sold the World.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know a lot about grunge. Motherfucker. Anyways.
Today, we're taking a look at a band that's on the. How did you describe it, Dave, in the Jins episode?
Oh yeah, the metal punk spectrum that grunge exists on.
Yes.
Where on one end you have the most punk, which is like Mudhoney, and then on the other end you have the most grunge, which would be, or the most metal, which would be like Alice in Chains.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Today we're taking a look at Soundgarden.
So they're pretty near the metal end of,
Yes.
of that whole spectrum.
In a lot of ways, I see Soundgarden as like, well, I won't say a modern Black Sabbath, since, you know.
Right.
So they're still Black Sabbath, but not still Soundgarden.
Yeah, but I felt like they had a lot of comparisons with them and Led Zeppelin and, you know, stuff from the 70s, but it was down-tuned and discordant. So, I don't know, even better in a lot of ways, I'd say. But, yeah, what do you guys... when did you guys become aware of the band Soundgarden?
It was when I got into Napster as a teenager, and I downloaded a bunch of stuff, and that's when I listened to Soundgarden the most, and I am not as obsessive about saving things anymore, so I don't have access to that hard drive at this point. So it's been a little while since I've done a real deep dive, but yeah.
For me, it would have been the Rusty Cage video. And then I got the cassette of this album, I think, for Christmas of my 8th grade year, which I think that might have been the same Christmas I got my bass. I'm not sure.
The one with the flames?
No, that's a different story. I got that from Evil Knievel's cousin, who was my roommate in college.
Well, that's a story.
Yeah.
I think when the Super Unknown album came out and like they were playing what's the song that they got him huge?
Black
Hole
Sun?
Sun.
Yeah.
Yes, they played that like nonstop on MTV. I used to watch 120 Minutes all the time, late at night. I'd stay up really late and watch MTV, and I remember that video being on all the time. And then I think the Spoon Man video, but I don't remember actually watching the Spoon Man video. But I remember buying Super Unknown and liking that album, and then the next album too. But it's been a long time since I've listened to this album, Bad Motorfinger, so I can't. Probably since the 90s, probably.
Nice. For me, I kind of got into them a little ass backwards. I was actually aware of Audioslave before I was aware of Soundgarden. I had the first Audioslave album, and I thought that one was pretty good, so it made me want to check out Soundgarden just to, expand my musical depth, because it's like, well, if I like the singer on this, certainly I would like him in his old band. And so I bought their A-Sides collection, which, had all their singles on it. And from there, I think I bought this album. So this album was probably my first proper Soundgarden album. And then after that, I think I got Super Unknown, and then Down on the Upside. And then I dug back to their first EP, which is probably my favorite release, which when me and Dave record more EP episodes between seasons, their first one will probably be on there. And it was actually really difficult for me to find a Soundgarden album to feature this season, because I'm more or less doing like some of my favorite albums and artists. And so I wasn't sure which one to pick, because I really like Loud Love. I think that's a good album, but it's not a great album. And I really like Super Unknown, but it's a bit commercial for my taste for me to consider that one my favorite, so I think I just kind of settled on Bad Motorfinger. And it has a number of my favorite songs on it, like I think Drawing Flies is a great song. So yeah, that's how I got started on it. And seen Soundgarden a number of times after they reunited. I got to see them at Red Rocks, and I saw them again down in Kansas City. They put on a great show. And yeah, unfortunately, Chris Cornell, rest in peace, passed away a number of years ago. Yeah, really tragic. He's one of my favorites. I don't usually get too affected by celebrity deaths, but that one kind of hurt.
I do remember, like, shortly before their reunion, like when everyone thought they would never have a reunion, there was an Onion article which was Soundgarden reunion accidentally happens in a Cinnabon.
They actually did kind of reunite before they reunited. It was all three of the other guys without Chris Cornell, and they got the singer of Tad to sing for him, and he did terribly. He did not sound good. They're reuniting soon, actually, for like a one-off show with somebody else under the name Nude Dragons, which is an anagram. So that's neat.
Oh, I do remember. Wasn't there a band that Chris Cornell was in prior or around? What was Temple of the Dog?
Yeah, that was a super group.
Yeah.
Yep. And Chris Cornell was just a guest vocalist on a couple songs.
Oh, he wasn't actually in Temple.
No,
of
he
the
was.
Dog.
He was. Eddie Vedder was the guest vocalist on a couple songs.
I thought it was the other way around.
Nope.
Huh.
Then they formed Pearl Jam and kept Eddie Vedder as the vocalist, pretty much, more or less. He's also on the Sap EP by Alice in Chains.
Eddie Vedder or Chris Cornell?
Chris Cornell. On the song where they credited as Alice Mudgarden.
Are there, of the classic era of grunge, where they, like, every single band I can think of was from Seattle? Was that true? Was there a grunge band that wasn't from Seattle? Or at least that started in the 80s before it got huge?
Smashing Pumpkins got lumped in with grunge, even though they didn't consider themselves grunge, but they were from Chicago.
And
They're alternative.
Stone Temple Pilots got lumped in with grunge. But
They were from
didn't they
LA?
form in like the 90s though? Like they were kind of like a second wave.
Yeah, I think their first album, Core, was like 95.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And,
But I think someone I used to know a long time ago said something about before They were Stone Temple Pilots. They're all like in.
Core was 92.
Okay. But
Oh,
yeah, I
shit.
think like the band itself is like all like glam rock stuff, like like hair metal, and I think the singer Wyland, I think he was mostly into rap, before they formed the band.
Really? Huh, I didn't
That's
know that.
what. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've heard that. I don't necessarily know if that's true, but yeah, that's what that was the story that I heard about him.
Alice in Chains, before they became Alice in Chains, were Alice in Chains with a Z, and they did like glam covers, but they also did like Armored Saint covers, which I'm like, that's kind of random.
Yeah.
Well, Alice in Chains, they've always been kind of the kooky outliers because, like you said, they seem more metal than grunge
Yeah.
because they had like but then they would have like cheesy songs like on their first out like Queen of the Rodeo, which is like such a fucking great song.
Yeah, the one making fun of rednecks.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of bands didn't really start out necessarily wanting to be considered grunge. They wanted to be considered like Pete was like alternative.
And I think a lot of it was just a marketing term that
Oh, yeah.
later
Oh,
people came
yeah.
up with.
Very much so.
And like people in Seattle were into My War by Black Flag, or they were both into the Ramones and Black Sabbath at the same time,
Yeah.
somewhere in there, and they were doing metal tinged punk or punk tinged metal, and it all kind of, and they were all like playing with each other, getting to know each other, and kind of in the creative stew together, and it all kind of developed its own.
And you don't ever hear about it, but I have to imagine that even like crossover thrash had an influence.
Yeah. One thing that I thought was really interesting though about the Mudhoney chapter of Our Band Could Be Your Life was how much all the grunge bands mentioned in that. Like it focuses on Mudhoney, but it gets into the whole scene. Like how many of them loved Devo? Like Devo was one of the favorite bands of the Seattle grunge scene in like the late 80s. Like when Mudhoney decided to sign to a major label, they chose Warner Brothers because that was Devo's label.
Huh. Doesn't surprise me though.
Nirvana is really into like REM
Yeah.
and the Pixies.
And Nirvana covered Devo.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, turn around.
Well, today, looking at Bad Motorfinger, which is the third studio album by Soundgarden, released on October 8th, 1991 through A&M Records.
Did they name it that because it's the same initials as Bad Motherfucker?
No, it's a play on Bad Motor Scooter, which is a song from one of Sammy Hagar's bands. I forget which one it was.
Montrose?
Yeah, Montrose. Yeah, it was a Montrose song. This was the first one with their new and I guess I can't say current since they're only kind of together now, but Ben Shepherd. This one features a lot of alternative tunings, odd time signatures, and says here that the lyrics are intended to be ambiguous and evocative. Because Chris Cornell, real fucking poet.
Their lyrics have always been ambiguous, like with the exception of like "Fell on Black Days." That's very obviously about depression, but a lot of their lyrics are, yeah, just like little turns of phrases or little poetic characters. That's like, okay, what does this mean? But yeah,
But it's funny. This came out in October of '91, which is like a month after Nevermind.
Oh, was it that?
Yeah,
that soon?
Nevermind came out in September.
the funny thing is though, it took like a little while for Nevermind to gain the steam to be like the album of the '90s. So
Right.
like when
yeah,
this
it wasn't overnight. It was like it was a slow build. But then like David Geffen Records didn't think it was actually going to be that popular, so they only printed like 50,000 copies. And so everywhere was sold out of Nevermind when it hit big, and like people were trying to get a copy of it. So they had to hurry up and do a bunch of reprintings and stuff of it.
Well, it actually is kind of a funny story how I got into quote unquote grunge. I wasn't like a regular watcher of Headbangers Ball, but I did happen to be watching the night that Kurt Cobain was on with that giant yellow dress.
Oh yeah.
His prom dress. Yeah.
Right. So I was watching that, and not only was that the night that they premiered the video for Smells Like Teen Spirit, they also premiered the video for Ugly Kid Joe, Everything About You.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so the next morning, I went to the record store / head shop, and because I've always resonated more towards comedy than anything else, because I was going to buy the Ugly Kid Joe because it looked funny, right? They didn't have it. The guy had never even heard of it. But they did have Nirvana, so I was just like, well, I guess I'll get this instead.
Accidentally on the cutting edge.
Yes.
That's awesome, actually.
Yeah.
What did you get, a cassette or a record?
Cassette.
Cassette, yeah. It was mainly cassettes back then. I think at least we only had.
Well,
we
you
didn't
can
get a CD player until the mid '90s.
You could listen to a cassette in your car.
Yeah.
A lot of cars didn't have CD players. And, yeah.
Well, if they did, they skipped.
I wasn't
Yeah.
driving it anyway.
Yeah.
To circle back to the provocative lyrics, Cornell said that he tried not to get too specific and was more interested in letting
Ambiguity.
ambiguity create colorful images. Thiel compared listening to the album to reading a novel about a man's conflict with himself and society or the government or his family or the economy or anything. And Cornell says Outshined is about going from periods of extreme self-confidence to plummeting in the opposite direction, which I can certainly relate to, and I think all of us could. Jesus Christ pose, which when I first saw the back, I kept calling it Jesus Christ Posse.
my favorite Detroit white rap group.
Jesus Christ pose was written about famous people who exploit the symbol of Jesus' crucifixion to suggest they're persecuted by the public. Wow, that's still a thing. Thiel wrote the lyrics for Room 1,000 Years Wide, and so the song is about experience in general. Holy Water is written about people who force their beliefs onto others, and New Damage subtly criticizes the right-wing government of the United States. And I think that's all stuff that we can get down with.
Get jiggy with it.
Yeah. But I think in hindsight, I think it might have been the Outshine video that I saw before Rusty Cage. It's hard to think back that far.
Yeah.
It was so long ago.
How did I keep track of things before the internet? Who can say?
The album was recorded in spring of 1991 at Studio D in Sausalito, California. Bear Creek Studios in Woodinville, Washington, and A&M Studios in Los Angeles, California. Produced by Terry Date, because according to Cornell, they had a good relationship with Date and did not want to go through the pressure of trying to find a new producer. One example of the innovative techniques used on the record is for the opening song, Rusty Cage. Kim used a wah pedal as an audio filter, which resulted in the unusual guitar sound.
Oh, that's cool.
Today, I don't have a record of this one. I looked for one. I couldn't find one in my price range. I suspect since this one was released during the time where vinyl was probably at its lowest in popularity, it probably didn't produce a whole lot back then, so the only options were like modern copies for like $30-some, and no. Decided not to.
Steve's got Pullman bills to play.
Yeah. That's a sore issue for me right now. That's for fucking sure.
That's a mega sore ass.
None of us right now can take a dump because I don't have a toilet or running water. So Floof Goof Studios is officially a medieval hut with Wi-Fi.
You know, I can take a shit in your yard.
No, you can't.
I took a shit in the little hole where your toilet was.
Oh, look at that self-cleaning litter box.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
You guys are barbarians.
Watch your mouth or I'll shit inside it.
You guys are only allowed to shit in the chamber pot, and then you have to dump it right outside the window. That's how.
But who's going to clean it?
The gong farmer.
Wink.
And we're
wink.
all gong farmers. So I put the album art up here. Dave, analyze the artwork.
Okay, there's a triangle in the middle, and then like the spiral moving out. Triangle is white. There's a little gold triangle in the middle, and then the spiral going out is like a mustard color, and then there's something blurred in the background.
That looks like a hand.
Yeah, Maybe that's
I
the
bet
play.
that's like a head right there.
Yeah.
I'll bet you this is a band image. I bet this is a person right here too.
I bet they're playing live, and that's just motion blur,
Yeah.
and they put it over. But yeah, looks kind of, I don't know. It looks kind of Masonic. The image on it, like the kind of thing that would be on the back of money, or that paranoid people would use to talk about the New World Order, that type of thing.
So
Not that I'm not paranoid, but I'm paranoid about real things like
So-
MK Ultra.
So obviously,
Yeah.
Soundgarden is part of the deep state,
Yes.
and that's
Just because-
probably why
Or they're referencing the deep state.
Hey, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean we're not after you.
Yeah.
Go piss somewhere else, territory boy.
Yeah.
the Bad Motorfinger logo on the cover of the album was drawn by guitarist Mark Dancy of sub pop band Big Chief and consists of a jagged, cyclone-like design, which is the Illuminati. Kim suggested the title Bad Motorfinger as joke on the Mantra song Bad Motor Scooter, and said, regarding the title, it was sort of on the top of my head. I simply like it because it was colorful. It was kind of aggressive, too. It conjures up a lot of different kinds of images. We like the ambiguity in it, the way it sounded, and the way it looked.
That's kind of one of the things I like about grunge is you had like the depressing seriousness to it, but you also had like the little like punk rock playfulness to it too.
Yeah, which, growing up on metal, like, metalheads take themselves way too fucking seriously, and I used to be pretty guilty of that, too. Megaton, super serious band.
Yeah.
We all sound like Monster Man.
Yeah, I don't know how you took it serious when I would yell back at you in the same voice.
Yeah.
Well, everybody in metal, they're philosophers that are smarter than all of us because they listen to black metal produced in the pits of Norway. So, what's his name? Varg. He's a real fucking intellectual, right? If Elon Musk buys Magic the Gathering, that means Varg can play it, right?
If Elon Musk buys Hasbro, I'm not going to play Magic the Gathering or D&D anymore.
Are you gonna switch to Varg's alternative? I forget what it was called.
No, I have read that source book. I think I said this on another episode. But hey, people might be starting here. I pirated a PDF of Varg's black metal role-playing game just because I wanted to read it, and it was as bad as I thought it would. It was like all of the bad design choices from like 80s and 90s RPGs, but with just like on-the-nose racism in it. Like, oh, look, it talks about how white people have better stats than everyone else. Okay.
You want to hear something funny? I don't even know what the fuck you guys are talking about.
For season 3, I think my theme might be controversial artists, and we might be doing either a Burzum or a Mayhem episode. And I kind of want to have Sean on it just because he'd fucking hate it.
What if for season 3 we do an actual play podcast like of a pen and paper role playing game and make Sean play the Varg RPG?
Varg used to have a YouTube channel, but I think it's been shut down because
He's a fucking Nazi.
Yeah. But I remember one time he was just showing off Burzum riffs, but he didn't have an amp, so he just took his electric guitar and put the headstock on the table to amplify it. And it worked, but it's just like, what the fuck?
What a nerd.
Yeah. Now he lives in France with his wife, and I think he got arrested in France for some reason.
The French don't like the Nazis. I'm not saying the French aren't racist, but the French don't like the Nazis.
I wonder why that would be.
I wonder why.
Well, anyway, back to
L'occupation.
back to the polar opposite, Soundgarden.
Yeah.
Bad Motorfinger included the singles Jesus Christ Posed, Outshined, and Rusty Cage, and gained considerable airtime on alternative rock radio. In a contemporary review for Spin, Lauren Spencer hailed Bad Motorfinger as a garden of sound. Very original. Very original description there.
That was
That's like something I
Someone
would...
wrote that.
That's something I would have done in grade school.
Someone got that past their editor.
Someone got paid to do that. The fuck? I'm cracking.
Well,
cracking
Megaton
open a
sounded
beer
like a ton
now.
of Mega.
The two of those three singles are like the songs I think.
Mega
when I
ton
think
of noise.
Soundgarden. like the singles I think of when I think of Soundgarden are Rusty Cage, Outshined. Then I also think of Spoon Man and Fell on Black Days. So like two of the four songs I think of when I think of the band are on this album.
Yeah.
So, another aside, one of my old bands briefly considered my idea for a band name of the Dover Test, which is, and because that's basically the Dover Test is how many dead U.S. soldiers can come back, and Americans will still support a war, right? Because the bodies are flown into Dover Air Force Base,
Yeah,
right?
that is a good band name.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Well, our bass player is worried about a review going, the Dover test failed.
Okay, but that's really funny to put that in a review for a band called the Dover Test, knowing what that means.
Anyway, Soundgarden.
Yes.
The Garden of Sound.
So yes, Lauren Spencer hailed Bad Motorfinger as a garden of sound that drew on older hard rock influences without sounding derivative. Well, but despite her
Derivative review.
despite her derivative review, I agree with that statement. Entertainment Weekly critic Gina Arnold commended Soundgarden for writing more engagingly than their contemporaries, who seldom get beyond extolling booze, girls, and cars.
So Entertainment Weekly was reviewing it against like hair metal,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
against like punk.
Yeah, that's a really
Yeah.
weird. I mean, I wouldn't call them their contemporaries.
No.
I would think like the Melvins or
Yeah.
Grunge must not have taken off yet, so maybe she was just comparing him to hair metal. Which leads us to our surprise. We're actually doing Peter Criss by Peter Criss.
Fuck you.
Because like
Fuck you.
Because like I like Soundgarden.
He's the cat.
I like Soundgarden's like writing and lyrics, but I would like
He'd
in,
much
in
rather
terms of
listen
the
to
writing
Peter
and lyrics,
Criss.
I would think of them more alongside punk bands than I would like hair metal
Yeah.
Right.
in terms of what to compare them to. Yeah.
So she concluded in her review that the record was more stylishly bombastic than bludgeoningly bombastic. Tuneless heavy metal is, after all, still tuneless heavy metal, and in that department, Soundgarden are as functional as they make them. Writing for NME, Keith Cameron said that the band had found a cool balance between Cornell's bluesy screams and Thiel's brutish riff power play. Respectively, all music staff writer Steve Huey deemed Bad Motorfinger heavy, challenging hard rock, full of intellectual sensibility and complex band interplay. While Ann Powers of Blender commented that Cornell strikes the perfect Jesus Christ pose on this sonic wall-up.
Oh.
She said
That is a weird thing to say considering what
She
that
said the
song's
thing!
about. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I kind of understand. I like hearing what the contemporary reviews were. I kind of understand why like all the old like punk and grunge people only read like fanzines.
Yeah.
The Enemy was fine, but that was the kind of thing that Enemy was also what the punk and grunge fans were reading other than fanzines. So yeah.
But here's the thing, too. So, like I said, I was in 8th grade when I got this, and to a large degree, I was comparing it to hair bands as the contemporary, because that's, I was still very much into, like, Poison, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, things like that. But at the same time, I was an 8th grade kid, so that's fine for me. These literal professional writers who
can't put a band in its own context, really.
Yeah, because and it was clear that NME was the only one that was actually aware of it before they did the review.
Yeah.
Although it was like, oh yeah, it's just my album came across my desk.
Yeah.
This sounds different from Poison.
Robert Christgau was less enthusiastic, finding it credible as a metal record because of Thiel's impressive use of guitar noise, but less impressive lyrically, writing, Chris Cornell howls on about looking for the paradigm and your Jesus Christ pose. I swear that's the good stuff.
I like some Christgau writing. Some of it is a little up its own ass and a little too harsh.
Buzz Osborne, whose band's Melvins had a massive influence on grunge, called Bad Motorfinger his favorite grunge album of all time, praising its sophistication and complex structures. And in 2010, Greg Puciato named Room 1,000 Years Wide as his favorite song. Today we'll be taking a look at 12 songs, and on the first side we have Rusty Cage, Outshined, Slaves and Bulldozers, Jesus Christ Pose, Face Pollution, and Somewhere. Oh, I should probably cover the personnel real quick. We got Chris Cornell on vocals, rhythm guitar, Kim Thiel on lead guitar, Ben Shepherd on bass, Matt Cameron on drums. Scott Granlund played saxophone on Room 1,000 Years Wide and Drawing Flies. Ernst Long, trumpet on Face Pollution, Room 1,000 Years Wide and Drawing Flies. And Damon Stewart, narration on Searching with My Good Eye Closed. We already talked about the artwork, and then we already talked about the production, so yeah. We've all heard this album before, so we all know what to expect, so let's go ahead and dive into it.
Woo!
Woo!
Woo! Woo!
Woo! Rock on! I feel like we're camping.
I feel like it took me this long to figure out that crossing the streams was a peeing joke in Ghostbusters.
And we are back from side one.
I just want to thank you guys for finally letting me listen to a good fucking album.
Hey, you've listened to good albums before. You've just been our go-to for bad albums.
It's
Hey,
been
you
a
like Lord Such.
It's been a couple in a row, motherfuckers. A couple in a row. I've had to listen to bullshit. So thank you for not making me listen to bullshit tonight.
I did put on the first track of Peter Criss for about half a second, and then Sean threatened to
I think
chop my
castrate.
balls on this. Yeah. But yeah, so one of my favorite albums. Listening to it critically, I noticed there's a lot more repetition than I noticed when, I'm just sitting around listening to it. But I will say Kim's guitar playing, particularly his riff-based and single-note-based stuff, had a huge effect on my own guitar playing. And then, not to compare myself to Chris Cornell at all vocally, except for this, I have also been employing like the dynamic of going between singing and yelling in a Wish.com version of what he does, basically.
Yeah.
And I'll say, the album starts with a really good energy with Rusty Cage, slows down progressively in its outro, and then that carries on to Outshined and Slaves and Bulldozers, giving the album some pretty good dynamic, but then it just slams into some high energy with Jesus Christ Pose and Face Pollution, which I think both had more heavy metal and punk energies, respectively. And then ends with kind of what I would describe as an artier song. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's kind of good overview of how I thought the side flowed. Yeah, I liked it quite a bit. It was as good as I remembered it. I heard what kind of influence it would kind of have on industrial later with some of the repetitive stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The songs did occasionally go a little long, but it was still good. And well, in terms of just like with the repetitiveness, and it's like they could have like faded out or wrapped things up a few times, but as a whole they did eventually come back to an interesting part when it did feel a little long, and so yeah.
I did notice like usually we're a lot chattier when we're listening to these albums, and this one we were all kind of quiet. I don't know if it's because we were all paying attention or if this is just not a good friends drinking together album and more of a good getting together and doing heroin together album, maybe.
It was a good album. I was picking up things I didn't remember from it. There was like a lot going on.
Yeah.
I think I was trying to pay attention a little bit more because, like I said, I haven't listened to this album.
Yeah.
But I've heard
Well, it's like when we're listening to Def Leppard, it's like, oh, we've all given up on this song.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess when there's good shit going on, it's like, oh, let's listen to this. When it's bad shit, we're like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird for me because when I was a kid, I loved this, and kind of as you pointed out, it's actually very repetitive.
Yeah, I know. And I like repetition in music, so it doesn't bother me. But there were moments where I'm like, wow, they've been doing this part for a while.
Yeah. And as on one of the songs, I even said, you know what? After 30 some years of mostly listening to like fast skate punk, this is just like. Da, 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 da. Just like, come on, let's move on with it here.
Yeah,
So-
it's definitely slower than a lot of the stuff I listen to. But I there were some dynamics to it, so it wasn't terrible. Like Rusty Cage is a good song, it has a good groove. The riff is cool in it.
Yeah.
It's still just a good song. I like the breakdown. I thought that was really great.
Yeah, the breakdown was really good. I liked how. I liked it when it got kind of choppy at the end.
Yeah. And then Outshine, I mean, that's kind of one of those songs that you hear on the radio still to this day. And I think I mentioned that I'm like, isn't this probably this was the big breakout song on the album.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I thought it was still good, and it's still a rocking song. So I think it deserved to be kind of the outbreak song.
Yeah.
Slave Bulldozers, it was good. I really liked the screaming bit because it kind of broke up Cornell's vocals a bit, where it was just like, or he just started going into a really like bit. I like that. Jesus Christ Pose, it was good. I thought that was probably one of the songs that was probably a little long, like you were saying, Dave.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a 5+ minute song. That probably could have been a 4-minute song. Face Pollution, it was the first song that really sounded like album filler. Like they were like, okay, we got 2 minutes, let's just throw something together. It didn't really seem like anything.
It felt like Soundgarden was trying to play a punk song.
Yeah,
But
but
it wasn't really bad, but it was just kind of like, kind of missed the mark a little bit on there.
I
Yeah.
did feel like in the flow of things, it was a nice little change of pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but it was kind of a nothing song. And then Somewhere I thought was good. I thought it was a good closer for the first side. So I thought the lyrics were amazing on that one. I actually like that one a lot. I think on side one, my least favorite song was probably Face Pollution.
But I kind of feel like Somewhere is what soap operas would think grunge is supposed to sound like.
Hey, that's pretty good, actually.
I remember Kelly Ripa, before she was a talk show host, she was an actress on All My Children. And so when she first came onto the show, she had her hair dyed black, she wore a leather jacket, she was this rocker chick. And her favorite band that she's all nuts about in 1990, let me see if you can figure out who this name was inspired by, but she was all about this band, Metal Lunica.
I don't know.
But that's just kind of the way I felt like, here'd be this bad boy rocker type. And then he plays one song, and it sounds something like Somewhere.
I liked Somewhere. My blow by blow with all the songs. Rusty Cage, I really liked the guitar tone. I thought, especially in the intro, I thought it was cool. Bass had a nice growl to add to that once it kept going. And I liked the way Chris Cornell would hold a note for a while before kind of sliding into a line in the verse. Thought that a really cool vocal delivery there. And like I said earlier, at the end when the guitar, the breakdown kind of part where the guitar playing gets kind of choppier was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's where it fell apart for me. Because then it was just like, okay, now it's just...
Getting a little too dirty for you.
And it just, went on forever. But I will say though, it made sense to have that song end that way because then it matched the pacing and the feel of Outshine.
Yeah.
But yeah, Slaves and Bulldozers was definitely the low point because it was just, god damn it, just do something.
Outshine, yeah.
Jesus Christ Pose, I still really love that. That was my favorite one because, well, the drums are great on it. I just love it. They're very busy. They keep things going. It was very repetitive, but it was driving enough that it overcame that. And I also liked how they kept just building upon that original feeling. Face Pollution, like I said, trying to play a punk song, and yeah, I covered everything else, I think.
Yeah, for me, Rusty Cage, I think that did a great job showing Cornell's range, because he had really high highs, but he also had like lower lows.
Yeah.
Kind of in the range that I'm used to singing in. So, there's some words in that song that I like singing along with. Outshined, it's slow and doomy, and it reminds me of Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin kind of fused together, but also doesn't sound like them at the same time. It kind of has the vibe, but not the musicality, I think.
Yeah.
I really like Outshined too. I liked how heavy it was for most of it, but then like in the like pre-chorus bit, just how it got less heavy and kind of got more melodic. I felt
flowery.
Like flowery. I liked that was like a good relief of tension before getting really heavy in the chorus again too. I thought that was some really interesting songwriting. I liked how there's like a mini solo right after the first chorus that led into the next verse, and it kind of flowed really well into the lead playing in that next verse. I thought that was, I thought it was a really good song, and the bridge reminded me of Led Zeppelin the most out of anything on this album.
Yeah.
I thought that sounded cool.
Slaves and Bulldozers, I'm probably the one in this group of people that's most into slower songs, so I love this song.
Yeah, this song's great. I liked how snaky the bass was, like menacing.
Yeah, I could, as an ADHD person, there are definitely moments on this album where I kind of felt like what you were describing, Mr. Fucking. Where it was kind of like, kind of do something, but at the same time, I also appreciate the minimalism. I think it worked overall.
Yeah, I think, this was probably...
Like I said, I love the screaming bits in Slaves and Bulldozers.
I don't think that song would have worked without Cornell.
No, Slaves and Bulldozers, I think, are my favorite vocals so far on the record.
Jesus Christ Pose, I put that at kind of... As far as like the guitar playing goes and the tempo, it kind of reached what I'd consider speed metal territory. But the rhythm section sounds, I wouldn't call it speed metal, but I wasn't sure what to put when I was putting it down in my notes.
It sounded industrial. Yeah. It wasn't like electronic like a lot of industrial is, but it felt the same, It sounded like, I can see how a lot of industrial acts probably were recreating this kind of thing on a computer.
Yeah.
I remember being in the band room in high school, playing along to it with my tabs, playing along to it on bass, drop D, and it's pretty much just all open low D string. and occasionally it'd go up to it'd be a G sharp.
Some of the feedback stuff at the guitar on the lead guitar at the end reminded me of the kind of stuff I like to do with synth. So it's like maybe that's where I was also getting some of the industrial from.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking about through this whole thing is I assumed you were probably into Kim's guitar playing because it kind of got into some of the same territory like Sonic Youth was the way he was utilizing feedback.
Oh yeah. That did, especially in Slaves and Bulldozers. Like I loved all the solos. I loved how different they were from each other. How many interesting things it did with feedback, like how the feedback almost sounded like a separate instrument at times. But Face Pollution, I pretty much had the same thoughts as you guys. It sounded like Soundgarden trying to do a punk song. It was a good change of pace. It was a good mix-up on the album as a whole. I can understand if they didn't play it live very often, but like where it is on the album, that's a good spot to just do like a short high energy punky song to pick it up a little bit. Yeah.
And then Somewhere, already more upbeat, but I'd still say dissonant.
Yeah.
And I thought the fade out, fake out was kind of interesting. You don't really hear people faking out with a fade out. Like usually they
Yeah.
just fake out. Usually they fake you out with the instrument
Yeah.
playing.
The
So-
fade out seemed kind of early in the song too, so I was like, "Oh, this song's wrapping up quickly."
Yeah.
Because it's since I haven't listened to this.
I don't know.
Album
You
all
know
the way
what?
through
I
since, like, high
can't
school,
really
but yeah.
let Soundgarden get away with it because there was another band we were listening to where they did a fade out, fake out, and I was like pissed about it. But I don't know if it was because I was pissed off because the band sucked,
It was because the band sucked. I think that was Def Leppard.
and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Did we need a fucking fake out? No, we didn't. We just end the fucking song." So I might have
liked
to
it.
I might have to do
Yeah.
still ding him a little bit for that, but fuck it.
I feel like with bad albums, it's kind of like, you know how when you're stressed out, like every little thing is like 20 times worse than it would be under normal circumstances. It's kind of like what it is with a bad album, where they employ some kind of trope that like you might not like it's 20 times worse because you're like, oh
Yeah.
fuck this band.
I like Somewhere quite a bit. I liked like some of the time signature proggy art rock stuff is a little hard to follow, but not in a bad way. Just in kind of a they're doing that way type of thing.
But yeah, overall, I like all of those songs to varying degrees.
Yeah, it's as good as I remembered it.
It's got a good beat and you can dance to it. Let's do it.
You definitely can't dance to Somewhere. It would be like,
A David Byrne type would try.
yeah.
Oh, we have a Dave Byrne type right here.
All right, so you guys have any other thoughts on that?
Farts.
Any more farts on that?
Yeah, no, yeah, good side.
It was a bad motor finger.
It was bad motor finger.
All right, so got another 6 songs coming up. We got Searching with My Good Eye Closed, Room 1,000 Years Wide. They opened with that one when I saw them on their reunion tour, and I thought that was a really good set opener for their live set. Mind Riot, Drawing Flies, which is probably my favorite Soundgarden song, actually, and it's kind of one of their lesser known ones, I guess.
Spoiler alert.
Hey, we'll talk about why. It's a teaser, not a spoiler. Holy War. Holy War. Holy War, the punishment due. This one's for the cause. Oh no, now all the Irish want to kill us. Anyway. New Damage, or sorry, Holy Water. And then New Damage. So
There's a lot of long songs on this side.
Yeah.
You guys got any thoughts before we get into this one?
Snarf, snarf.
Meat pie.
All right, this is side B.
A random bugbear. Like, the need to know something.
Yeah.
Wikipedia rabbit holes are fun.
Yeah. Or if I can't sleep, there's that too. Or if, yeah.
I remember a night I went through it was around Halloween. I went through a cracked all-nighter, but also comparing notes with Wikipedia. And then I had to record you the next day. No sleep whatsoever. And we managed to get some stuff done, but you kind of requested next time that you make sure I have a good night's rest beforehand.
I think I remember that because I think you said something like, crack.com is officially crack. Well, I remember feeling that way about crack.com too. Like I would sit there and just read it for hours. Like whoever wrote for them at that time was fantastic at writing. And I don't know, now that I listen to Behind the Bastards, I'm sure Robert wrote a lot of my favorites.
Yeah.
Since he used to run their stuff.
And then a lot of the people who wrote in that era are doing stuff now. Like Jason Pargin, formerly known as David Wong, because Jason Pargin is his real name, has written like a ton of novels. And
I've read every single one of them.
have you read Black Box of Doom?
Yes.
I just finished that.
It was really good.
I
It
loved
wasn't
it,
my
yeah.
favorite, but
Hey, assholes,
really
this
good.
ain't no fucking book club.
Hey, calm the fuck down.
Well,
I actually just finished reading that as well.
So a friend of mine at work was telling me about how when she was in college, She lived at a party house for like less than a semester. What convinced her to move out is one time there was a party, and someone took a shit, like a human took a shit in her cat's litter box, and she was like, "Nope."
There were parts that there were just a few parts where I was kind of like, she's getting a little preachy at him, but then it was kind of funny that he was like an incel fucker.
Yeah. Well, and then it was the parts where she got a little preachy I was fine with because she wasn't right about everything. Like, she was broadly right about most things,
Yeah.
but she had her own little blind spots, and yeah, I thought it was a good book as a whole.
Yeah,
I thought the end was hilarious. Steve beeped this out for people who don't want spoilers. Where I laughed out loud.
I did too. That was pretty good. See, that's the kind of what. See, that was actually probably my least favorite of his books. However, it was still like a really good book.
And like the preachiness, I guess, or I guess the broader point it was trying to make, I overall agreed with.
Yeah.
Don't try to treat conversations like doing damage to an opponent, which the internet has trained us to do, and get to know people as people and talk to them in person. I thought that was cool, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was also funny when his in the became like started.
Yeah, that was pretty great. And I liked.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, I started reading Cracked again, and they're starting to get some better writers. It was
good.
really bad for a while.
Yeah, I think some of the original people might be coming back.
There was a mass exodus
Yeah.
of correct writers.
Well, a lot of them got fired or laid off, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember there was a point where I stopped reading, so...
Yep. You couldn't read anything because there was just ads everywhere.
Oh, and then a lot of the old people who used to write for it have a new website called 1-900 Hot Dog, which is good. It's like Sean Baby and Brockway mainly, but they've brought back a few of the other
Yeah,
old
I
ones.
remember them plugging that before.
Their podcast, the Dog Zone 9000, is a lot of fun too. They just look at bad old media like those particular crack writers liked to, and
But so it's weird. Billy Wayne Davis, haven't been seen him on for a while, and I looking forward. I don't think there's any episodes. I think he's been off the show for a few years now.
I think he's been touring and stuff. Like, his name will come up sometimes on like the Dollop or others.
Okay.
Yeah, but he hasn't been like the frequent podcast guest that he was in like 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
I also think maybe touring, he doesn't like. Maybe part of that was like 2020 was.
He couldn't tour, so
Yeah.
Well, no more Reverend Doctrine for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just finished the Papa Doc and Baby Doc episode. That was nice.
Oh, you had a lot of notes this time.
Yeah, I have more notes for this side than I think I did last one.
Oh, I'm looking at Steve's notes because like you were saying, he was typing like a fucking hacker from the 90s. Film hacker. I'm in. I need someone to help me. Help me type faster.
2 idiots, 1 keyboard. All right, and we are back from side B.
Back and badder than ever.
What did y'all think?
I like
Side B.
I like side B better than side 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was saying side B sometimes can be the weaker side, but it seemed like this was the more experimental side, which made it more interesting. So
It was a little looser,
yeah.
but
Not
a little more
trying-
coherent.
Yeah, not trying to be so heavy,
Yeah.
which worked in their favor.
It opens with 2 of my favorite Soundgarden songs, and then it also features my favorite Soundgarden song. I'm more used to hearing this album in one go, but listening to it this way, I could tell that there was some thought in arranging this into 2 distinct sides. And I think the opening narration with the toy animal wheel parody thing, I think was a really cool and funny way to open the album.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
But
And that
I
almost
ju-
could have been its own song.
I do want to say though, was that wasn't there a bit that Butthole Surfers did, where they're like something about Satan.
Yes. So the song Sweat Loaf, which is an interpolation of Sweet Leaf by Black Sabbath. At the beginning, they just have this bit like, Daddy, what does regret mean? Well, son, it's better to regret things that you have done than things that you haven't done. By the way, if you see your mother this weekend, tell her, Satan, Satan, Satan.
That's kind of what
Yeah.
it reminded me of right there. Thank you,
Yes.
Dave. Good remembering.
Locust Abortion Technician is one of my all-time favorite records.
Well, and Butthole, we didn't mention this at the beginning. Butthole Surfers were, they weren't grunge, but they were really influential on the grunge movement.
Yeah.
They were really
and they were
heavy,
from Texas, right?
Yeah.
Dallas, Texas. The underground in Texas. So, yeah. So they were a huge influence on the grunge era.
Yeah, to me, hearing like all the reviewers compare this to hair metal, it's like, to me, this sounds like taking like the heavier bands from the alternative scenes, like the Butthole Surfers, like Dinosaur Jr., like the Melvins, and adding back some of like the Black Sabbath and Zeppelin influences. It sounds like, to me, it sounds like that rather than Poison.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. One thing I really appreciate about this album is
That girl is poison.
they
Not that
employed
Poison.
an arrangement on the album that I think is lacking in a lot of albums. Like some of my favorite albums from the 70s, I think work so well because they have their rock song, they have their ballad, they have their blues shuffle song, they have their weird experimenty prog song.
Experimental?
I like experimenty. I think that should be a
Experimenty.
Ooh,
Fresh.
This
Ooh,
is
new-
experimenty and fresh.
New t-shirt idea, experimenty.
And that's what I really like about Black Sabbath is they have their doomer they have their
Okay, Doomer.
I'm on a roll today. They have their doomer songs, but they have their blues song. And then they have their shuffle. Then they have their "We Were on Drugs" song, and
And they have Laguna Beach. And they have Changes.
and
Changes.
one of my biggest criticisms of the Sabbath sound-alike bands is they typically just go for like just their stoner rock sound,
Yeah.
and that's it. And then
What if every
and then
song
they
was
do,
Electric
Yeah,
People?
yeah, it's nine songs that are probably all great, but I don't want to hear it 9 times in a row.
Right.
I think Soundgarden did a great job of mixing a few different genres on this entire album because we had like doomy songs, we had an attempt at punk, something that approached speed metal territory. We had some prettier sounding moments that were still discordant. So yeah, I think there was a lot of good mixes of different sounds on this album.
Little thrash here and there.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing about the age of the people in the band. All right, so they were too young to really get in on the first wave of punk rock, and they apparently didn't want to just jump in on the weird shit happened in the 80s with punk rock. But they're old enough that they also remember like the 70s rock. At some point in my past, I said that grunge is really just kind of the combination, that the middle road between punk rock and hippie music. and at the time, I meant hippie music, more in the sense of like, like just like 70s rock bands, psychedelic bands, not so much Grateful Dead, but
So is grunge musical centrism?
kind of.
Well, it's kind of funny
It's
that
made by Gen X, so I mean,
Yeah.
aren't Gen X largely centrist?
Yeah.
Well, one time Nirvana described their sound as the Bay City Rollers being molested by Black Flag and Black Sabbath. So,
Right.
I mean, that's a pretty.
Henry Rollins on one side, Ozzy Osbourne on the other, and
And-
they're making a sandwich.
That was kind of
Bay City
that's
Roller.
kind of the same thing you're saying.
Yeah.
Where it was the Bay City Rollers, which was just kind of a simple SAT,
Yeah.
like, and then like
Glam rock.
a glam rock, heavier, and then with the punk aesthetic of not giving a fuck.
Right.
So yeah,
And the anger of punk. Like, metal, like, at this point wasn't as angry as punk was.
No,
It became more angry at different times.
A
but
lot
yeah.
of the metal, and not the glam rock, a lot of the metal at the time was still very much in its sword and sorcery phase.
Yeah.
It's either that or getting laid music.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and I think grunge was basically a reaction to that. Is like we're tired of all this hair metal shit. So
Right.
We need something different. And I was around in the '90s, in the early '90s, but I don't remember it. But I have to imagine it was a time period that bred a lot of anger and angst and uncertainty. You guys probably remember better than I would.
And actually, I don't remember that because you got to remember. So Clinton would have gotten in '92.
93.
Well, '93. You would,
Yeah.
he
He
would
was
be like-
sworn in '93.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and all right. So I would have been. I would have
I
been
was
15.
11.
Yeah, I would have been 15 at the time. He was actually sworn in. And that's the whole thing is that I was too young to really catch on to the shittiness of Reagan or Bush Senior.
Yeah.
And the Clinton years were largely, the economy wasn't too bad. Really, life wasn't too bad during that administration. And so, I don't have a lot of memories of any kind of like turmoil because of politics or because of society.
there was turmoil at the time. He was an austerity hawk like Bush and Reagan, just in a way that made like the former hippies feel better about themselves. But yeah, it was also the Cold War was over, and it felt like there was nothing stopping the United States from being on top. Yeah, the economy was good.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons, but yeah.
Fight Club kind of summed up the 90s very well because it even came out in 99, where it said we had no great war, no Great Depression. Our great war is ourselves, and our Great Depression is our lives, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the 90s in a nutshell. And then 2001 hit, and the planes changed. The planes
Yeah.
hitting the
Yeah.
changed everything.
It's such a cliche thing. 9/11 changed everything. But 9/11 changed everything.
It
Yeah,
did.
it really
Yeah.
did, yeah.
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 I remember
It's
thinking at
one
the
of
time,
those-
like, the world's not going to feel the same after this, and
Yeah.
it ended up being very true.
Oh,
It's
but
the watershed moment that we all remember what we were doing when it happened. That's our generation.
Yeah. It's funny is in like 86, I think it was, the Replacements had their big single, Bastards of Young, which had the line, we've got no wars to name us. And so it was in the water for a while. But
Yeah.
I remember back in the early 2000s when I was in speech and debate class, my classmates would sometimes make fun of me because I had a knack for taking any subject and tying it into 9/11 somehow. I would be like, since 9/11, food production has been,
I mean, it really did change everything, though. It's probably the single most important historical event of our lifetimes, and we've seen a lot of single historical events.
Too much now.
Yeah, too much.
I mean-
stop. Let history end. Let Fukuyama be right, even though he's been proven wrong many times. But yeah,
Since 9/11 happened, I've had put 6 animals to sleep.
yeah, it has been that long.
Has nothing to do with
9/11
9/11, but since 9/11.
It's funny because like my nephew, his birthday was yesterday, but he was like less than 1 year old when it happened.
Right.
My niece, who's like just turned 21, she wasn't even alive.
Right.
It's like fucking hell.
Well, it's weird is like with my
It's almost been a quarter of a century since it happened.
Mm-hmm.
but what's weird with my job at the public library where I get to see people's like IDs with their birth date while they fill out library card applications and then they put them on there. It's like, here are some full-ass adults who are living adult lives doing adult things who have no memory of 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
9/11 did give us one good thing. Epic power ballad, When the Eagle Cries by Iced Earth.
Steve, go fuck yourself.
When the eagle cries, an angel sheds its wings.
I think my butthole was crying at that.
The acoustic version was better. It wasn't good, but it was better.
I want to do a bonus episode where we go back to that and make Sean listen to the Gettysburg trilogy.
Oh, fuck. I do it. It's fine.
Content.
Well, no, I think it's just fun to.
Yeah.
I actually think it's fun to make fun of shitty records. So
Oh yeah, it is.
so I'm okay doing that.
It makes me feel better about my own shitty records.
No, it just makes me feel happy to shit on a January Sixers artistic values.
Yeah.
Jay Johnson, the herky jerky inmate.
He had shit thrown at him.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. Yep.
Well, speaking of bad albums, this one is not.
Yeah. Let's talk about a good album
Yeah,
that we just
so-
listened to.
Let's go down track by track, searching with my good eye closed. As I said, I love how it opened the side. I love the Animal Wheel intro.
That was hilarious. I
Yeah.
laughed.
Yeah.
And it just had a cool soaring vibe to it. It had kind of, I don't know, for all the doomer songs on this one had more of an uplifting kind of thing.
It was fun.
You know, it wasn't like really fast. It was kind of more of like a slow rocker,
Yeah,
but still rocker. It kind of reminded me actually of Red Fang
yeah.
quite a bit, and then going into the chorus, it kind of switched from Red Fang into something almost Beatle-esque.
Mm.
But that's kind of what we're talking about, like some of the experimentation, and drawing more from wider variety. Because also at different points heard things that remind me of both of the Doors and also GNR.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this might have been my favorite vocal performance. There was a lot of great vocal tracks, but yeah, this was good. Did make me wonder about like they use a lot of overdubs. Made me wonder if like live did they ever have other members of the band like chip in and
Cornell played guitar on some songs, so.
No, I
chip
think
in
he's
and do
talking about
vocals,
vocal
like vocal
overdubs.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
See, I've seen live performances of songs where I know there was like multiple Chris Cornell overdubs, and they either played to a click track, which had the overdubs,
Right.
which is kind of a cheap trick, if you want to call it cheap trick,
Yeah.
that they use, or he just did it solely, like a solo kind of thing.
Yeah, and like some of it was to just have like some parts overlap that don't necessarily need to overlap in a live track or to do some panning into different. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it would have been interesting to hear another like him trade back and forth with another vocalist on some of these too, though. So yeah,
I wonder if they were limited by the members of the band that could actually sing too.
it could be that. Like, there are very few vocalists like Cornell, like the way, like he was a powerhouse for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Next song, Room 1,000 Years Wide. One of my favorite songs ever. Hits really hard for me. One of my favorite slow, doomy riffs to play along with. And yeah, that one just hits really hard for me.
It was a guitar part you could sing jump, 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 jump.
I love the scream on Tomorrow that he did.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But this is also the one where I literally wrote the note, not trying to be so heavy. It had a nice pacing. To me, it wasn't necessarily as memorable, but it just had a nice feel to it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I liked. Back to talking about the vocals, I liked how he almost did kind of like the spooky goth, like Dave Vanian or Peter Murphy type thing a couple times, but then would go to like the metal semi falsetto to like the screaming, just like jumping all around to all different kinds of vocal styles. Really,
Yeah, he has such a great
Yeah.
range. Yeah, not a lot of people can do that. Mind Riot, another arty song that's nice and melodic, but still kind of discordant.
My favorite song.
Yeah, my favorite too.
Yeah, my favorite song on the
For
album.
this side, Jesus Christ Pose is still my favorite, but I remember when it was playing, I was telling Dave that it was kind of made me think of this was their Lemon song,
Yeah, I could hear that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the one thing that was lacking on it, I guess, is I almost had this sense that I like this as it is, but I almost feel like I'm missing something. Like I need to be high, and then I'll fully grasp this song.
Yeah.
This one wasn't as heavy as any of the other songs on the album, but that kind of gave them some space to do some different things that I really liked. Like, I liked how the drums almost sounded like a marching beat at some times.
Yeah.
And that didn't come in till like halfway through the song, too.
Yeah, I liked it had a great intro and it seemed different. And then I liked the transitions and then the tempo changes that it had during it. So, yeah. Maybe I did need to be high too, but it was still my favorite song on the album.
It's a little bluesier. Like, all the songs on this album, like, contained elements of the blues. This one was the bluesiest, I think, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that.
The next one, Drawing Flies, is my favorite on the album.
It sucked. No, just kidding.
It was my second favorite on the album.
No, it was really good.
Yeah.
It was, I know you already said it was your favorite, but it was really good, and I'm trolling you.
It was the most fun song on the album, I thought. Like,
Well, I mean, it had the swing beat to it,
Yeah.
kind of the clever allusions to death.
Yeah.
But like in a really playful way. The lyrics were a playful song about death, and I like that dynamic, that contrast.
Yeah, Chris's delivery in the song is like really gritty with like a hint of venom that I really liked. And I love how the guitar drops out during that one part and the bass holds it down for a bit. And I remember back in my gas station days when I was a gas station attendant, I would listen to this song when I was stressed out. For some reason, this one helped me cope with feeling weird and alienated at work for some reason. I'm not sure why. But.
Well, you did work at a gas station.
Probably because I felt like I was dead. Because I was dead inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, work will do that.
I remember when I was a sandwich artist, I used to listen. No,
Which artist? Holy Water, Back to Doomy, probably the doomiest song on the album that features several Doom songs.
Yeah.
I said it as well when I heard it. I'm like, and I still think I think it should have been. It felt like it was a Super Unknown song.
I could hear
Yeah.
that vibe.
Yeah.
the guitar solo from it actually reminded me a lot of the solo on Black Hole Sun.
Yeah, it did. And I thought it had a nice sludgy tone. I think it was just a little long.
It was a little long. I did like the way the bass line kind of walked. I would have probably cut down some stuff on the middle, rather than ending it sooner, though, because I like kind of like the thrashiness
Yeah.
to the very end.
See, I thought the end was almost like an intentional opposite of the outro they did on Rusty Cage.
Oh, yeah.
Where they really just like were kind of chunky and broken down a little bit. It was almost like they said, "Hey, you know what we did in Rusty Cage? Let's not do that here."
I feel like a lot of the stuff they did was like, let's not repeat our ideas and do something different, which I really like. There's kept every song standing out and feeling kind of fresh.
Yeah. And then closes out with New Damage, probably the grungiest of the songs on the album. And I liked how it opened with his screaming.
Yeah, I liked the screaming, and I liked that kind of... That guitar sound reminded me a lot of Funhouse by the Stooges, especially at the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this was my least favorite song on the album. I think the album probably would have been better if it stopped at Holy Water. And
Yeah, I would agree with that because I didn't really hate the song, or I didn't really hate New Damage when it first started. It kind of reminded me of later era Pantera, but then it just kind of kept going. And
and I kind of hate the name too. New Damage, such a generic fucking name.
That does sound like a Pantera song.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one rubbed me the wrong way.
I did like the end portion, though. Like, by the end, it did make me want to stand up and put my foot through Steve's TV, which is a sign of a good song. But yeah, like, maybe, like, some stuff could have been edited out of the middle, because I like the beginning, I like the end.
I don't know. It was a bit boring, and I don't know. It was the grungiest song, but it was also the most generic grungiest song on the album. It was my least favorite.
Still a good song.
It was
Just dragged a little bit in the middle.
We're going to agree to disagree.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say no.
Dave, I'm never talking to you again. I can't believe you like that song.
I think Face Pollution was better, and that was my least favorite song on the first side. So I'll say that one was probably my least favorite on the album.
Then, yeah, the album as a whole, I thought the mix was perfect. I could hear all the instruments clearly. It included a number of other things in the mix that added texture, but I don't feel like ever really got in the way of anything, and was also clear itself. So, there was a lot of things going on, but you can hear it, which is something that I've kind of struggled with in my own mixes.
Production is really good. I do wonder, especially on the drum side, if this had been produced the same way like Mastodon, Leviathan, where you could hear every single tom just so crisp, that I think would have... I wonder how this would have sounded with that kind of production. Because I liked it. It was, for the most part, clear, but there was definitely some points of kind of general muddiness, which where I couldn't quite tell precise what was going on.
I think that you can definitely tell this was I haven't heard their other albums, but you could definitely tell it was a professional mix.
Yeah.
Like, it was done very well. And it was probably because it was at that time when the Seattle scene was getting noticed, but it wasn't exploded yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the record companies were throwing some money into producing the record. So you can tell it was well produced and well recorded.
But not quite as much money as they'd be throwing at it a year later.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I bet you the budget on this one compared to Super Unknown is very different.
Oh, yeah. I bet you're right, yeah. But yeah, overall, I thought the bass sounded huge. The drums hit really hard. The guitar was heavy, but also weird. And Chris Cornell, of course, one of the best vocalists ever with range and energy, and his lyrics are thought-provoking and emotion-provoking. And overall, my only nitpicky criticism is some of the songs were a little too repetitive, even though I do like repetition.
They could have been, a few could have been edited down a little bit.
And one dropped altogether.
Yep.
But nothing that, like, if I put an album on and I'm driving or playing video games or working on something, I wouldn't even notice. Like,
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It was kind of like you know what it might have suffered from? I felt like Nude Holy Water and remember that video I showed you where it said don't put like the same pace songs together on a set list?
yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like. Like, they felt like the same pace, and but I felt like New Damage just wasn't as good as Holy Water.
Would you have thought the same thing if they were in the other order?
Nah, probably not. I think New Damage, like I said, I hated the name, and it was just like, I don't know, it just felt like a very generic song. I don't know, and too long.
It rubbed Sean the wrong way, and I wanted to rub Sean the wrong way.
Pete, you can rub me any way you want.
Rub against the ground.
Any way you want it.
That's the way you rub it. To the side. But yeah,
All right. Well, that was Soundgarden.
I'd definitely buy one.
It was a garden of sound.
It definitely sounded like a garden of sound. That reviewer was correct.
Oh, all right. I can't believe I just remember this. All right. So back in high school, went over to a friend's house one time and flipping through channels, and we would sometimes watch like the 700 Club, kind of laugh at it a little bit.
Yeah, like they used to play it all the time at Brothers.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the it wasn't Tammy Faye or what's his face, but one of the other guys I was with them was like, I want to talk about the music that the kids are listening to do. Like, band's names like Soundgarden. And I was like, Soundgarden? Like, what's so like disturbing about that name? But it said, but this music is what I like to call sloppy galoppy.
Oh my god.
And I've always remembered that Soundgarden is sloppy galop.
Oh my god.
Televangelists. Wouldn't it be absurd if people paid attention to them?
Heaven forbid. Yes, that was a pun.
I do have kind of a funny anecdote. When I saw Soundgarden for the first time in 2011, I told my mom I'm going to Colorado to see Soundgarden. She thought that was kind of weird, and I'm like, why? That seems like totally something I would do. And later I found out she thought I was going to see Savage Garden.
Oh. Yeah, that's a completely different experience.
It's kind of like friends of mine heard that Stabbing Westward, the industrial band, was playing in some kid's basement in Mason City. So they drove like an hour and a half to see the punk band Weston.
Oh, jeez.
Were they good?
I didn't mind them, but my friends weren't into punk. I wasn't there, but I later found out about the band. So
I think I'm trying to remember any of their songs. I don't remember having a negative impression of them. Yeah, I think they're good. Probably. I just don't remember them right now.
Who's Stabbing Westward?
Weston. the band that they saw, not the band they thought they were going to see.
I love Stabbing Westward. They were so great. I don't know.
no, one of our professional shows tried to garner interest by getting people confused with the same thing. We went as Marilyn Hanson.
Remember the celebrity death matches
Yeah.
with the claymations?
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson killed Hanson.
If we ever want to do an album that I don't like, any of Marilyn Manson's ones, we probably do. I don't. His voice to me is like nails on a chalkboard.
Well,
I don't know. I remember his albums had a lot of bullshit on them, and then it would have a song, and it was okay,
And the best songs were covers.
and yeah, and then I liked him, but then after actually listening back after years later, kind of one of those was it really as good as I remembered? And it was not.
well, Portrait of an American Family is good. I will say that.
Yeah, because I actually had some good songs on Lunchbox. I remember
Yep.
that song. Yeah, we could do
Uh,
Portrait of an American Family.
Me and Dave are scheming on what we're gonna do for the finale, and at first I thought, oh, I've heard that Nickelback's first album before they got signed wasn't that bad. Maybe we can bring Adam in, because Adam's told me that it's pretty good. So I put it on. I'm like, this is just Godsmack.
There's a fucking generic band we could do.
I was listening to it, and I'm like, I don't think this would even be good for comedic efforts.
Yeah.
It was just so, it sounded like worse Godsmack.
That's why I've never really gotten into the shitting on Nickelback thing, because they're too boring to give that much hate to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of take the Patton Oswalt approach, where it's just they found a way to make money without chopping people's heads off. So they just want to go beer to beer to beer. So
Look at it, laugh. It makes me laugh.
The look at this photograph memes were funny.
I feel like
back when that song was new.
But then again, one of my favorite Gongformer songs started with a riff that Sean brought in that I thought sounded like Nickelback.
I know.
And you were wrong.
Sean's complained about that.
I was like, Pete. I'm like, fucking Pete was like, it sounds like Nickelback. I'm like, dude, it's just the riff. We make it sound like Gong Farmer.
We did, because we had the bass player play the riff, and then Dinger did this.
Yeah,
On
I
top
was
of it.
just showing the riff. I wasn't saying this is the final song. I wasn't Dinger at the time, who Dinger was like, you have to bring in the final song.
Well, no, it wasn't an issue of that. It was just that riff sucks. I don't know what we could possibly do with it.
Like Pete's French song riff.
Doom, 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 doom.
That was a song I would swear I would carry into a new band, and we have not done it.
Well, it was Pete's song.
That was mine.
I know. I'm just
Yeah.
fucking around.
What are you talking about?
Toxic Impulse.
All right, so I wrote the music. You, me, and Dinger wrote the lyrics together.
I gave you a simplified version of the bass line, and you made it good.
I know. I wrote the bass.
Oh shit.
Oh, we got a dispute.
Yes, we do.
All right.
There's only one way to settle this: was physical violence.
All right. I'll go in the back room. I'll get the pistols.
High noon.
Nah,
Or do you prefer swords?
switchblades.
Switchblades.
While our left hands are tied to each other.
And then on the
Welcome
keyboard,
to
I'll
Thunderdome,
play the
bitch.
Star Trek. Well, all right. That's the end of the episode.
After that little lover spat.
Pete's retiring, so I think you can probably just give Dave that song in the divorce. Listen.
Well, actually, no, because I already owe half of it to Matt's delay pedal.
Check out my single Incompatibility. I'll check out me and Dave and Sean's band, The Alliterates. And Dave?
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Flip, 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 flip.
All right, not delay pedal, looper. This is looper pedal.
Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve is a Floof Goof Studios production. You could find us on Instagram at KillRockMusicSWS and Dave_Diction. You can find us on Bluesky at KillRock Music and Beastmaster General. Check out our musical projects, The Alliterates and Lucid Fugue, on all major streaming platforms, and links to each at my website, killrockmusic.com. That's KILRAVOCK music.com. This also includes my past projects, Megaton and Valley of Shadows, and my current solo project, Kill Rock. You can also find Dave's past project, Gong Farmer, at GONGFERMOUR.bandcamp.com. Thanks.
Everyone we've worked with is dead.
Really ripped.
Yeah.
I need to change my pants.
Check, 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 check.
Check, 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 check.